Hello, good afternoon. I am Jose Urbano. In this moment, I want to share or I want to give important information about the language teaching methodology and language policy. My, my purpose is to understand or to give maybe a answer about the three questions. And before to answer that question, it's important to identify the key question in language applications, the key context. Sorry, and we had a four key concepts. The first is the language policy. That concept is relational with the way to the language is teaching according to the context. For example, when the teacher is teaching Spanish or English in the indigenous group. For example, the teacher had to learn the the ways or the key content related with the language or the cultures, for example. And the second language education policy it's not enough to understand the language policy. It's important to understand the language in all the structure, the policy in general. In this case, organized with the curriculum. For example, the way to the language is relational with all the structure in the high school, cont- in the context, in the old context, outside into the classroom. And it's important to the methodology. Methodology is the ways, is the structure, is a method used to teaching or to understand a strategy, for example, to teaching in English in the classroom. And the fourth keywords, in this case, in relation to the cognitive language teaching. And in the cognitive language teaching, is interesting the interaction in the real context and the interaction in the different language and different language for to implement the language using the police, for example. But cognitive language teachings, we had a different challenges to implement because the context is not the same all the time. Okay, according to the first questions, the relation between methodology and police, in this case, mm, according to Liquid says, the matter is usually only becomes pre-articulate in a police when there is a perception that is silent teaching approach are problematic. When the teacher using all a methods, for example, communication methods, it has problematic when the teacher try to teach us. But the teacher had to articulate the policy for using the language, for example. In this case, the police influence the language directly in the methods, but if we had problematic, that problematic try to um, resolve a problem, for example. But it's important to that problem relation to the learning and all the methods. Okay, according to the second questions, aspect related the police. In this case, matters police. This is relation the way to the preference the teaching methods. The police material police is to all the tools, all the element resources, for example, text, audiovisuals, resources, and all the resources or material had to relate with the methodology because it's not the same use it for example gamification and using only text only grammar structure is not relational with the material is not relational with the methods. Curriculum policy, in this case curriculum policy is important to get goals and all the contents they had the contents had to dissertation approach and assessment policy. In this case, assessment policy is important to assessment in all activities and important to assessment methods, assessment students, and according to the code mentions the question or methods may be deal with other language policy by an overstatement preference for methods for another conversitory requirement for curriculums. And according to the, I had to say two cases. In this case, the first case is the Chinese case. In Chinese case, important the promotions, the community language teaching around 2000. It accordingly compounds communicates language teaching is now central is writing the norm in Chinese language and occasions. In this case, it's not enough to understand to the traditional methods. If the students and the teacher they want to advance in the methods, in the real methods, it's important to the community language teachings. Positive impacts is important. The interaction in special in exams the interaction is the way to advance to the real situation original language critics patch implementations language is so hard the implementation according to the course communicate language teaching has been made problematic because material police and assessment police, the material police and assessment police, the teacher in the different contests don't get the enough materials to evaluate or the assessment. The students or the government create police is not relational with the assessment policy or assessment context. And the last case, sorry, Australia. In this case, is the Australia case is more is a method is Australia is actually competence Australia methods because that Australia emphasizes the competence. The teacher is not a traditional, is not so hard, is a flexibility. And accordingly, corner that primary that isolate peer is a province skill based on the ability to use the language for pursuits and communication. The purpose the Australia Metro is a community language also, but it's so hard. But it has a limits in method diversity. And according to Equinox, Australia then has a strong occurrence in implicit method policy with no explicit methods policy. Conclusion, the connection, language teaching important across intervenue, effective policy and methods, assessment implementation, global lesson. China, Australia, we had a challenge in the policy implementations.